I recognize Mr. Chris Bruce. Mr. Bruce.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Christopher Bruce, Political Director for the ACLU of Georgia, an organization dedicated to protecting your civil rights and civil liberties. Now, Georgia had an unprecedented turnout during the election of 2020. So I'm going to keep my comments brief as well because I don't believe that we're up to date on the current version. And I would ask this committee to table this piece of legislation to allow the public more time to actually digest it and move forward with it. You know I love your 8 a.m. meetings, Mr. Chairman.
7 a.m. can be even better. So, and you've been here, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let's look at how this bill, Mr. Leader, looks at how it touches Georgians by requiring them a narrow set of excuses in order to vote by mail. So we know 1.3 million Georgians voted by absentee ballot during the general election and 1.1 million voted during the runoff. I make perfect points for this to let you know how these type of bills are actually being put forth. And if we ever have a chance of putting together a government permission slip on how you vote, then we're going to be running to certain type of issues. A lack of readily accessible transportation, the demands of a job, family, emergencies, invisible disabilities, as well as chronic illnesses and geographical challenges all limit one's access to the polls. Georgians face these burdens, and vote by mail without having an excuse is one of the ways that we get over these type of hurdles. Georgians have been able to cast absentee ballots by mail without having to provide an excuse for over 15 years. This current practice placed Georgians among the supermajority of states. That's 34 states plus the District of Columbia that allow their citizens to access no excuse absentee by mail as a right. With absolutely no evidence of malpractice or fraud, why would we pass a law that makes it more difficult for these votes and treats the government like a babysitter who has to give voters permission to cast a ballot? So, second, let's look at how this bill continues to look into requiring personal identification by being able to scan, print it, mailed, or upload it. We know that 42% of voters in the general election and only 47% of absentee voters in the runoff were aged 66 years and older. The rollover absentee list this past election cycle, nearly 600,000 voters, all of whom are Georgians who are either disabled, senior citizens, or both. Senior citizens and those who are disabled are more likely to be targeted for identity theft. It is not only burdensome, but it's also dangerous to force all of these voters to include sensitive information every time that they vote.
Thank you, Mr. Bruce. We appreciate your input, and mostly I appreciate your continued efforts to represent the people of Georgia at these hearings. You've been here every time. I want to acknowledge that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We look forward to your input in written form.
We'll continue to support this committee throughout the process. If you need any data or information, let me know.
Thank you, Mr. Bruce.
Thank you.